Michael has pointed out, and it'll be a theme as we go throughout the weekend. The great thing for drivers here, you have lots of options, and first time we've mentioned Ryan Sieg's name. What an effort it was for them in Las Vegas. Came home third, and there was a point where I thought he's going to win this thing.
Well, he had the fastest car late. He ran down Chase Briscoe and nearly was able to make the pass down into turn 3, but just faded as the laps wound down and couldn't keep up the pace. But there was a point during the last third of that race that car right there was the fastest guy in Vegas. And Cowboy Starlin and that team, they were sitting on a set of tires too. They get the right caution, that would have given them a big advantage. And talking about big, until you don't feel comfortable, you know you're going to go faster than what it said. But what you do as a driver, a lot of times you use that as a reference. If you get off turn 4 good, and the last time you're able to see that sign, and if it says more than you've seen before, then you're just swings around the outside of Haley.
Ryan Sieg up there in 6th.
Yeah, that's a strong practice for that team. We didn't expect much less, though, after last week's performance.
You said Reddick. Thinking about last year, certainly. But 2 years ago, it was in that car that he was riding the rim. What about Ryan Sieg, Regan?
Well, this team's just now getting out there. He went out for his first run, and they actually, in a day of oil leaks, had, guess what? Yes, another oil leak. They had to come in and work on that race car. They had a small leak on one of the lines that connects to the race car, so they got it fixed up. No problem, didn't dump oil on the racetrack, just something they had to fix before he could continue running.
And Regan, that team again for the second week in a row is showing a great deal of speed, and what a story that's been early in the 2020 season is Ryan Sieg. See their 9th at Daytona, 3rd at Vegas, and looks like they've got that car tuned up equally as well this week. And Adam, you were telling me you talked to Cowboy, and that's the same car they raced last weekend. They just cleaned it up a little bit.
That team's staying out here all 3 weeks for this West Coast swing. And so they stayed in Las Vegas for a few days. And, when you're doing that, you don't have a ton of time, but you can set up a shop somewhere, work on the race car. They've done that, turned it around. And a carryover on speed. You mentioned his overall numbers, 11th in final practice. He was 6th in that first session a little bit ago. And, a lot of teams doing long runs. This is really what we expected to see in final practice, but I'm sure also a product of the lack of track time in that first practice earlier today when we had all those issues we've talked about.
You saw Sieg sideways sliding back there, and then you heard the 10 of Chastain. He came out of the gas and said, "I've had enough."
12 minutes left, 12.
There's a visual of sideways. And you heard that? That was an audio of sideways. Ross Chastain getting out of the gas and heading to the pits and telling his team he needs more grip.
Picking that line when you get to the corner. Matt?
Regan, Ryan Sieg, and Kevin Cowboy Starlin, the overachievers, continue to impress, but were you able to get a good read on where you are with your car and package? Because we lost so much time in practice due to red flags.
Yeah, we Cowboy and Big Mike unloaded with a great CMR Chevrolet 39 car. Just we had to do our adjustments quick to get them in. We had a penalty, and then there was issues on track. But just got to thank Steve and Brian at CMR for letting me do this and keep releasing the great ECR engines that we have in our cars. And it's going to be a fun year.
Adam?
Thank you, Matt. I think it is going to be a fun year. Hot start for Ryan Sieg. Top 10 at Daytona, top 5 a week ago. And
impressive.
11th driver to go out in qualifying, driving for Mike Harmon. He is 4th now as we look at Ryan Sieg in the 39. So qualifying order is based on a random draw. But the first 20 cars you see were outside the top 20 in owner points a season ago. And the final 20 cars that we see will have been those that finished inside the top 20 on the car owner side in 2019. And this is the last weekend. We work off of last year's points. Next week we reset, and we will do everything based on what is current in 2020.
Solid run here again for Ryan Sieg. Where did he start last week, Adam? 32nd?
Yeah.
And raced all the way to almost, he was battling for the lead late. And just a great run for Cowboy Starlin, Ryan Sieg, Rod, the father that owns this team. Just a great bunch of people, and it's good to see them get these results.
40-44. Sieg is second.
Experience.
I was talking to those guys down there yesterday that come out of Tucker, Georgia. Ryan Sieg and Rod and that entire group do such a good job. And they're focused this year not only to get Ryan into the playoffs and win some races, they also want to develop that 93 car, make it more competitive on a weekly basis. And would you believe crew chiefing that car this weekend is 2000 Series champion Jeff Green. Drives for them from time to time, kind of a driver coach, and he'll be crew chiefing for Myatt later today.
Sieg.
Well, Shannon, thank you. It's starting to get very busy on the grid here. Guys are getting ready to climb in the race cars. Ryan Sieg, a great run for you last week. You're starting up front again this week. Are we going to get an encore performance?
Yeah, for sure. The CMR Roof and Chevrolet was great. Cowboy and Big Mike brought an excellent car here to California. Just hopefully we got another long run car like we did last week.
All right, good luck today. Matt.
Oh, no.
Keep an eye on all day long is Ryan Sieg, starting 8th today, 3rd last week at Las Vegas. We'll be tracking driver 39 throughout the race.
Getting the maximum out of the car is everything nowadays. You gotta be almost like qualifying every lap. Try to get a win this year. I think we can do it this year, and that's our goal. We're getting a chance to do that and run up front, and we're going to try to give 110%. Just go like hell all day long.
I like that attitude.
No mercy.
Oh, jeez. It started already.
You know, what's interesting is I heard the story in the garage this weekend that he was ready to walk away from racing. He was running in the Gander trucks, not as competitive as he wanted to be. And then Kevin Cowboy Starlin came over to crew chief. They moved from trucks to Xfinity, started getting some traction, and now here we are a handful of years later, and they're competing for victory.
Definitely saw what their car had late in the tire deg run, and it was very fast.
Final position in the top 5 on the line here. A couple of Chevrolets, the black and green 10 of Ross Chastain, racing with that 39 we talked about him, Ryan Sieg.
And I like hearing how much they're off the gas.
You like that?
You know, just lifting, rolling forever, and that's just going to happen more and more as these tires fall off. You know, so going back to your point, Chad, about cars that are good for short runs or long runs, you know, you're getting close to 10 laps. That's kind of considered starting to be a long run at this racetrack. It's a long lap around here, 2 miles around this place.
Migrating to the wall. He's a second-year driver. So is Noah Gragson in the 9. Of course, Noah won the season opener at Daytona.
Yeah, and that move
In the final practice yesterday really looked good.
So here's a replay of what we're talking about. Here you see the 10 of Ross Chastain up top. And then Ryan Sieg's going to come up. He's got so much momentum. He's got 10 miles an hour on him or so right there. Able to easily make the move down the straightaway. Here he is running the wall. Look at, just going to cross him. Boom. There's nothing Ryan Sieg can do to defend that. The move was already happening while they're in the corner. It was pretty much over when it started.
When does he start thinking about making that move? Are you in the front straightaway and saying, here's my plan going to 1 and 2? How long does it take to set that up?
On the top, it's going to be able to clear. Oh my goodness! Oh no! This is unbelievable racing. That's what Auto Club Speedway is all about. Just being able to see runs like that and having so many options for the drivers.
And Noah wanted to get down to the bottom right there, but he couldn't because Ryan Sieg was there, so he blocked him down low, and he had to get back up in that dirty air. One thing that's really interesting about this racetrack, look at the paving lines as the drivers are going through turns 1 and 2. They stay right in between those seams. 3 and 4, the track, they go through that. They actually kind of cross over them a lot more than what they do down in turns 1 and 2. Really kind of a unique thing, a characteristic of this racetrack.
Those seams have no grip.
Yeah.
No grip. You got to pick a lane and stay with it. Crossing it is very hard. There's no grip when you're on it. So when you're leaving the corner, if you're Justin Allgaier on the bottom, you're crossing those seams. Your car's moving back and forth all the way until you get to the wall. It just makes that bottom lane even more challenging.
How out of control is that feeling? Allgaier goes below the white line in 3 and 4, and as he comes off the corner, just shoots to the wall.
Where he's going to easily pass Daniel Hemrick right there.
Allgaier's starting to come around as well. He dropped outside the top 10, but middle of 3 wide with Chastain and Sieg, and he scored 8th right now.
That's just a no-win situation right there. When you got somebody up on top of you on the high side, somebody down below, that's a tough position for the 7 to be in right there. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's not exactly what the 39 of Ryan Sieg did not want to see. He came down on lap 100, topped off with fuel, and he wanted a long green flag run to the end of this race because he would have been able to make it and everybody else would have had to a pit. So now everybody comes down, gets 4 fresh tires, filled up with fuel. Everybody's clean to make it to the end. The way we've seen these restarts, though, there's no guarantees on what's going to happen, and you're lucky you got another set of tires sitting on pit road. And you watch the number 9 car right here and the number 1 car of Michael Annett. Those
The car, he is working very hard, but you know, this will be the real test of can Harrison Burton move to the wall quick enough to take the air basically away from Chase Briscoe.
Easy mistake.
Yeah. So something else that I'm noticing is starting to creep up around that top side is you see the shadows coming onto the racetrack off of the wall. What that does is that not only allows the drivers to get up there and keep their RPM up, but it's actually giving them a little bit of grip. And we got somebody in the wall in 3 and 4 there.
No caution yet.
Pit road.
That was Austin Hill. He was having a career day.
You know, we've seen such good things come out of Austin Hill over the last couple of years in the Truck Series. He's been really fun to watch in his improvement over the last, like I said, couple of years.
Really good start this year running for Hattori Racing, who won the championship a couple of seasons ago with Brett Moffitt behind the wheel. Right front tire issue. It looks like they'll make their pit stop here, and that will put them in a very difficult position with 30 laps remaining.
See that shadow up there? That's what the driver wants to do. He wants to get all 4 tires above that shadow line. And
change on that 8, and boy, what a run. Ryan Sieg, back-to-back weeks, solid top 5 effort, slides to a stop, a little bit deeper into his box than maybe he wanted to. An air pressure adjustment there on that 39 to help the balance. Regan?
The 18 car, Riley Herbst, each getting better and better as this race goes on. Just
your bottom, so run your bottom, outside quarter, run your bottom.
Ryan Sieg in position.
Run your bottom.
Harrison's going to turn out good here. You know, you saw Riley. You can restart. You can pass 7, 8 cars very quickly. And, you know, here we see that 22 car moving up through the field up to 3rd with 18 laps to go. About to pass for 2nd.
Time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series and kind of tried to do the unthinkable, winning your first start at Auto Club Speedway, one of the most difficult tracks on the circuit.
You know, and that's what they're supposed to do. You know, you heard Chase Briscoe say earlier, he needs to win a lot of races this year. You know, when you're in a good car like a Stewart-Haas car, a Penske car, a Gibbs car, you have to win. I don't care if it's your rookie season or if you've been in this series for 3 years or 10 years. You better win when you're one of those race cars.
me from him, especially in that equipment. Ryan Sieg is the one, quite honestly, that's pretty much impressing me throughout the course of the day. Stayed out of trouble for the most part, ran up towards the front. Anytime those guys get side by side, you see that 39 creep up there into the mix. Albeit he can't quite get up there to win with these guys, he's showing a lot of talent of staying smart, staying collected, and keeping his car up there towards the front.
You know, and you talk about experience. Ryan Sieg's been in this sport for a long time. He's been in the Xfinity Series for quite some time, you know, being able to be in position like this. So, neat to see a team like that racing up front here with a chance to win. With this battle for second, man.
The battles. Let's go back down to Matt Yoakum.
And give a shout out to Ryan Sieg as well. You guys continue to make a statement. The underachievers overachieving here today.
Yeah, for sure. The CMR Roofing Chevrolet was, it wasn't the best at the start. We just kept adjusting on it all day. Get a big shout out to the ECR Power. That was a lot to do with it today. And all the guys back at the shop, Big Mike, Cowboy, just the whole entire team. We all get in there and fight after it each week, and it's paying off. We've got some good strong runs here. Just continue to keep building on it, and just say hey to everyone at home and the families watching. Thank you all for the support.
What an impressive fourth place finish here today.
Mentions everybody at home. He's got 3 little girls at home